Hello, and happy Thursday. So yesterday we worked on the Phoenix boss, and I did a bunch of coding sins, which I'd like to fix today. Let me take a look at this. Okay, good. And then let's take a look at the boss itself. So yeah, so all of this stuff that's going wrong over here, I gotta fix. And I think it's gonna be a little bit difficult. But the Phoenixes look great. Hey Alex, hey Natchanax, happy 1 year anniversary, Natchanax. Thanks for the resub. Also, Alex, if I had the graphics for an Adam Abbey dance emote, I would probably do it. But yeah, I don't have anything for that. Okay, so all we got is for this character to revive. I want to check in what I've done so far so that I can make changes to this and not worry about it. So let's check in the graphic. Let's check in the import file. Oh, I also modified Heart of the Forest. All right, ideally what we're doing here is we're giving the Phoenix just an infinite revive or something. I should probably make a new ability for this. Phoenix something. What do I want to type here? We could say Heart of the Phoenix. Or we could just say like Phoenix Elite ability and just have it control kind of everything. I don't know. All right, it's now Heart of the Forest. Hey, Yonsen. It's been so long. What happened with that bot game you made years ago? It was discontinued. And yeah, welcome back. It's been about 5.5 years since you've been here. If you want to read more about why it was discontinued and everything, there's a link there that explains everything. This is, oh, interesting. I didn't realize this was a thing. Yeah, I could just link to the document. I guess I don't really use Bitly anymore. Yeah, this was from a long time ago. Anyway, it's this blog post that this is also very long, but I think it does cover everything, and I think it's a pretty good read. So if you're curious, feel free to read that. But if not, yeah, the short story is it just didn't do well commercially. All right, so what are we calling this? We're calling this Phoenix Elite ability, I guess. Sure. All right, so delete all this stuff. Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. Heart of the Phoenix, I guess. What we're gonna call this. I'll check it out. Yeah, cool. Yeah, what have you been up to in the last like 5 years? How has it been? This doesn't need a description. Okay, so this is looking pretty clean. And then we just need this buff to exist, which is an effect, which we call Phoenix Elite buff. And that goes here. And then Heart of the Forest. Finished my studies at this point, just started working. Man, it's crazy. This used to be a somewhat common thing I would hear in the stream because when I was working on Botland, it was like a 5-year contiguous block, and 5 years is obviously long enough for people to get their degrees. So some people who started watching at the beginning would chime in toward the like Adam Learns end of things and be like, yeah, I'm now working. But that's good to hear. I hope you like your job. I'll give you my usual like newbie to a job advice, which is don't hesitate to ask questions of other people. I think if I could only give one piece of advice, it's probably that. Like if you're working with other software developers, I'm assuming you're working in software, but if you're working with other software developers, it's like lean on them a little bit, you know, ideally not too much. There's a balance and you'll figure it out. But yeah, don't ignore them or not lean on them at all. I think that can lead to you feeling lost at a job. So this will be Phoenix Elite buff. We'll put this here, we'll put this here. Does persist through death, definitely is true. And now time until revive. We do need to figure this out. Don't use a timer so we don't end up trying to revive in between waves of a battle. We could use a timer for this now, I guess. All right, I got to think about that. And then number of deaths. I don't think I care about the number of deaths. Phoenix Elite .revive delay. Where's that come from? Do you stream full time? Didn't you work at Microsoft, if I recall correctly? So I am pretty much streaming full time. It's not, I shouldn't say streaming full time. I'm not streaming full time. I'm working on this game full time. I'm just streaming maybe about like 20 to 25 hours a week. And part of that, like even back in the Botland days, I was doing 32 hours a week. I don't know how I did that. I think it was even tough back then, but now I don't feel like I could do this anymore, nor do I want to. So like back then I took a 20-minute lunch break and just left the stream running for that time. Now I'm taking like an hour break for lunch. So I can actually disconnect and recoup. So yeah, little things like that have led to just a different stream schedule. But yeah, this is what I've been working on for a while now, Skeleseller. It's going pretty well. We're going to hopefully be launching in the next few months. There's a whole Steam page about it here if you want to take a look at what the game's about. I got to update that at some point. And yeah, I'm generally pretty happy about this stuff. Like, I think it's been fun to work on this. All right, so revive delay in this case, I think it's gonna be 3 seconds. So you basically have like 3 seconds to kill each of the bosses. That might not be enough. Maybe we set it to 4 seconds or something. I'm not sure. And then put this here, Phoenix Elite ability. All right, update, revive. This should probably be refactored with Heart of the Forest to some extent. This doesn't matter. Life percent also doesn't matter. If life percent is greater than epsilon, then revive battle. Oh, this is the life percent to revive them with? Yeah, no, we're always reviving them with 100%. Will it run on Steam Deck? That's right, game. It runs there. It's just not optimized for controller yet. So I need to look into that at some point. All right, this looks pretty good. And I'll just say, see Heart of the Forest buff for why this isn't a timer. Oh, that matters less here. Since the Phoenix boss isn't a multi-wave fight. I'll try the demo out. Yeah, like I said, just be a little bit wary about the Steam Deck stuff because it'll work. You'll hopefully have fun, but there's a lot where you'd be like, this is not what I would expect a controller-based game to do. So yeah, it's still usable. Hey, Becca, are we there yet? To launch, we're still a few months away. I think it'll probably be in March. I haven't set a date yet, though. But you'll know because on the Steam page, when I do set a date, instead of saying Q1 2026, it's going to say an actual date here. And that's when we'll be closer to there yet. All right, so now all enemy data, we give the Phoenix Elite ability. And I think we're good. Yeah, so let's go try that out. What we're doing here is, oh, there's a problem. Phoenix Elite buff could not be found. There. Yeah, so what we're doing here, we used to just take the mushroom ability that made them revive, which like worked well enough for testing, but I didn't want to do that. And now we have the Phoenix with their own ability. And hopefully, I know this is like super messed up right now, but hopefully we see this happen correctly. It might not have the opportunity to, but what's going to happen is one of these will die. And then if 4 seconds passes and they're still alive, the other ones, no, they're all dead. Okay, well, let's take this out and put this in instead and try that. So now this one's definitely going to die way ahead of the other ones. And then it's going to revive to full life. And now this battle should be unwinnable, I think. So it'll take 4 seconds and then it should revive. Yeah. So like I said, I think this battle is now unwinnable. Like it'll just keep looping like this, where one dies and another one dies and another one dies. I guess there's like a slim chance that the battle can actually end, but I think it's so slim that it'll never happen. Well, I can't say never. If there's a chance, it will eventually happen, but just not in a human amount of time. Yeah. Because it would involve the non-rogue characters to both damage the strongest Phoenixes. Yeah, so I think this will just keep working like this. And almost to the point, this is kind of why I wanted to test this. I don't know how players would overcome this. Either they would just do enough damage where they just wipe out all the Phoenixes, or they find some build that spreads out damage pretty well. I guess you wouldn't use the rogue in the fight and then it's fine. Yeah, I guess that's it. The rogue is the worst character for this fight probably. And maybe the zombies are the best characters of the witch doctor. Hey, Chef Alton, thank you. Yeah, as soon as we can get rid of this artifacting that we have happening, that'd be great. Oh, there's a bug. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's going on there? Get empty slots. Battle system 521. What? Index was outside of the bounds of the array. Huh. Okay, let's put a breakpoint here and figure out what these numbers are. Index equals this. And sure, I guess just use the index here. And then I want to say if index is greater than that or equal to it, then don't continue, just print error. Error. All right, let's put a breakpoint on that. Let's try that out. Hey again, Josh, welcome back. That's exactly how my rogue looked. Playing a death animation, falling over. Yeah, this is one of the big things I've been thinking about of how do I fix this. And I've got some ideas. What's going on? Did I break something? I broke something. What did I break though? Index was outside the bounds of the array. 527 in the battle system. What? I don't get it. Why? What? How is this even possible that it didn't break into here? What am I missing? We're making a new Boolean array of length 9. So if the index is 9 or higher, this... Oh, maybe it's negative? Oh, I didn't think about that. If index is less than 0 or... Although, how could it be negative? I don't understand this. And it's happening like immediately? Yeah, it just happened. So index must be negative. It is. And these things are -1. Oh my God, they start at -1. Okay. Well, what do we do about that? I guess we figure out what's trying to call this. Has space for battler. Summon. Is this summoning? It's coming from summon zombie. We can't summon zombies for the player anymore. Oh, is it because of... Oh, yeah, I know what's going on. Oh, I'm being a dummy. Okay, so there's a Phoenix positioning function here. This battler, we need to know what team they're on. It's only on the enemy team that we want to position enemies differently. I wonder how we figure this out. Add battler is just a summoned battler, but we have a node for them. Summon by enemy ID. Create battler by enemy ID. This puts them in a team, right? Yes, it does. Okay, so then this should be easy. We have wild turkeys that roam around in our greater neighborhood. They're usually in smaller packs of 10-ish. There's like 30 plus altogether outside my patio. Oh man. Turkeys are scary. They just strike me as very close to a dinosaur. Just something about that I don't like. All right, so this is just when we're on the enemy thing. And yeah, this is a mess. And we don't even get the team here. So, and ECS.get component, battle team component team equals enemy. Okay. 30 turkeys. Man, very territorial. Saw two males absolutely brutalizing each other a couple months ago. Tried to break it up, but they ran back at each other. You tried to break up a turkey fight? Oh man, these are things I would not attempt. Unless I had a very, very long stick. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't get hurt. Okay, nice. Now this is looking good. And the phoenixes are looking good. Yeah, okay, okay. All that's working fine. So then this index is less than 0 code isn't needed anymore. I have my trash can in hand as a shield. Yeah, but is your agility stat fast enough? If a turkey came running at you, would you know what to do? What about your dexterity? This happened to you with the roosters? They crazy? Yeah, man. Would not want to mess around with either of those birds. I have a shield. The rooster shield. +2 defense. Minus 50% eye pecking efficacy. All right, that looks good. This is fine. This is probably fine, yeah. This is fine. All of this is going to be non-controversial until we get to all the hacky stuff. This kind of goes without saying for any piece of code, but we know that we have hacky stuff here. All right, this is good code. That's not hacky. This is where all the hacky stuff started happening. Yeah, I don't like this. To pull this from the enemy data. Do we have the enemy data here? We must. Yeah, we do. And then this position, this should be based on pull this from the instance data. Something like an enemy layout function. Hey Matt, how you doing? Happy Thursday. Yeah, so we have a lot of to-do items to fix here. Oh boy. About to take the dog to the vet. Likely gonna have to send him off to deep sleep. Oh no. Yeah, I remember you mentioning something a while ago about there being a problem or there being surgery or something. I don't fully recall. But I think this is always really tough. And I think that non-pet owners don't necessarily understand that the grieving process still applies to pets. I mean, especially if you've had them for a long time. I imagine it's still hard if you got them like a week ago, but probably less hard than if you had them for years. But yeah, man, I don't know exactly what that's like. I had pets growing up, but I don't remember being like deeply affected. And I don't think I loved the cats as much as I love our current cat. But yeah, I can imagine that's going to be very difficult. So I hope you allow yourself the time to grieve. I gotta write something down before I forget, by the way. Address to-do items. Back in February, we had to dock his tail. He's old and been deteriorating pretty badly. Now he's having neurological issues, walking in circles, not drinking water. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always a tough decision. You know, there's a like logical versus emotional response to a lot of different things. Like you can recognize that something might be for the best and still be hurt by it. But I do take solace in knowing if something is for the best, at least. Again, I haven't been in this situation myself in a long time because we haven't had a pet in forever. But yeah, I think it'll be a good test of my own kind of philosophy when it comes to my life. I don't want to get into this too much though. But in short, it has to do with at what point is your quality of life like dire, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's the most succinct, non-scriptive way of putting it. All right, death animation name. So we have a revive animation name somewhere. I gotta figure that out. I gotta look through this whole thing. Yeah, Battler's the last bastion here. I don't think you're being heartless. Even just based on this message you described here, like, I don't think you're being heartless. Hey, Seshamara, did you just end your stream? I saw you were streaming this morning. Let's put this in Battler. So revive animation name. This is literally just going to be the word revive. It's not going to be difficult. I just need to do it. The stream has ended for me. Oh, Twitch problems? Internet problems? Oh, this is inside Battler, so we don't need this here? Oh, they're all inside Battler? Oh. Which, I guess, just delete these things. All right, so does revive exist anywhere else? Only here. That's fine. This could technically be private at this point. The death enemy, yeah, I'll make this private. Until it needs to be public, like, why not? But there's a lot more to look through here. Hang on one sec. I got to turn off the heat. Man, on the plus side, there's a heating vent, like, right underneath my desk. So when I do want there to be heat or air conditioning, then it's, like, right there. But the rest of our place is probably not warm enough yet, but in here it's, like, very hot. I've got these powerful lights on. I've got, like, 2 computers running. Mob problems? I hope not. Hey, Codex. Imagine living somewhere you have the heater on in November. Yeah, imagine that. Was debugging a solution to one of my programming puzzle games, and either it went into an infinite loop or the total iterations needed was huge. My PC, wow, PC crashed. Okay. Yeah, wow. Your computer's just like, I am not going to do this work. I will not let you. So I want this to be manifested. Let me take the old code that we had here, but this needs to change to figure out what this should be. It also probably shouldn't be called is elite. I'm gonna just put this here. All right, I strongly dislike this code. Strongly dislike it. This is not new code. Why is this here? Oh, because the diff can't figure out where it came from. Common init. Okay, yeah, I gotta fix that up. All right, well, we've got some to-do items there. So add foundation for the Phoenix boss. There's a lot of hacky code to get a boss to use a special revive animation. I still need to fix this code. Also, the Phoenix is the first boss to have a custom enemy layout, since there are 3 large sprites in the battle. Sad the engine didn't kill a process for such scenarios. I guess I didn't think of the game itself doing the infinite loop. It is a little unusual that it crashed your computer, though. I wonder if just the temperature got too high. Actually, I wonder, yeah. It's the only thing I could think is that, like, CPU temperature got too high or something. Have you dusted your computer anytime recently? Hey, Rohit. Hey, Chronofish. Look at me, able to chat on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you've heard, but Twitch lets you multi-stream. They don't let you merge different platforms chat on your stream. So I can show YouTube chat, I can show Twitch chat, but I can't show them combined with one another. So I only show Twitch chat above my head here. And I do try to read YouTube chat, but sometimes it's not always obvious to other people. But yeah, good afternoon. Welcome in. All right. Now comes the refactoring that I wanted to do here. I also want this to change the init ready ordering problems. Okay, so maybe we can just change those init problems first. I got to think about how this works. Did I write down how I think it should work? Added to a hidden node? Okay, yeah. That's what I was worried about. Oh, man. Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, it's like explicitly called out in their multi-streaming guidelines that you shouldn't do this. I used the word merge before. Oh, there it is. No, no, that's not it. Huh, weird. So it says, prohibition on third-party tools only applies to content presented to viewers either on or off Twitch. They used to mention this explicitly at the top of this. Oh, maybe it's this. Yeah, here it is. You do not use third-party services that combine activity from other platforms or services on your Twitch stream during your simulcast, such as merging chat or other features, to ensure the Twitch community is included in the entirety of the experience of your live stream. So yeah, this is what says you shouldn't do this. But a lot of streamers combined them. And at one point, I think Twitch started cracking down on like the biggest streamers who were doing this. Hey, Tina. Yeah, you can't show YouTube chat together. Yep. Well, you can't merge them. You could show one on the left and one on the right, for example. But yeah, the other thing is they generally don't recommend having your like YouTube chat automatically show up on stream, because if someone does say something like super racist or something, then Twitch can't moderate that user. So they moderate the streamer instead. But maybe Cakes doesn't have a problem with that particular part. Like, his Cakes doesn't also have a problem with Twitch swinging the band hammer down. All right, so I got to add this to a hidden node. Let's take a look at how all this works. I don't think this is going to be fun, but it might be easy. And easy is the best we can hope for. So let's go take a look at battle system. Where do we add the battler? Right here. And this is done after buffering this. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to... I'd like to create a battler. I guess we already have one somewhere, right? Didn't I already make one to get here? Yeah, we instantiate this here. I'd like to just add it immediately. I'd like to do like hidden battler node dot add child battler, so that ready could be called immediately. I think that would be really nice. So to do make this node, and then to do reparent the node when we, after deferring. I wonder if I've been to the Dallas airport. I think I went to Texas once. Yeah, I think I've been once, and it was for the first event that I did. I think that was in Houston, but I could have sworn... No, yeah, I think I went to Houston. I'm guessing Houston has its own airport. Houston airport, yeah. Yeah, so I probably did not go to Dallas. Man, I still remember the Uber ride that I took. The guy was like, I don't know how to say this in a better way, but I feel like he was sort of probing for me being racist somehow by saying like semi-racist stuff himself. And I was so weirded out. I was like, why? Why are you talking about this? Especially to like some stranger in an Uber. It was one of the most bizarre experiences and really put me off. Because I read about this online, that people who are doing kind of anything that's questionable by society's standards will find other people who do these questionable things. And the way that they find them is by like kind of sort of joking about something, but it's not really a joke. And that way, if you just laugh or you're uncomfortable, it's like, okay, well then maybe they don't pursue it any further. But if you're like, yeah, this is a problem, then they'll pursue it a lot. Yeah. I just never seen that behavior in real life before. And I did not like that. Not one bit. All right, so the battler system has this. I'm going to add a new node here. This is just going to be, actually, it doesn't even need to be a node 2D, but it might as well be. Why can't I rearrange this? There we go. So we'll call this hidden battler node. Happy to see far less of it as well. Man. I don't know what to do in that situation. Like, it didn't escalate. I just didn't pursue the topic. And I don't think calling them out probably does anything. Guessing that isn't the same as Massachusetts people saying racist stuff because they're curious and literally don't understand it's not cool to ask that stuff. No, I don't think it was that. Like, imagine if I told you a story about a race of people and the story had no point. Like, why mention the race of people if you're going to do that? That's, yeah, anyway, it doesn't, like, the story itself was benign. Yeah. And I guess I'm just going to stop talking about this. All right, so we got to go get this hidden battler node. Where art thou node? Okay, so hidden battler node. Yeah, and I'm going to write a comment for this. So when adding battlers to the battle, I think we have battlers.add. What is this? Yeah, we have this. Wait, isn't there something about like battlers we have to add? Huh. I thought we... Wait a second, what? Hold on, I thought we deferred this. Oh my god, we don't? Oh... This is much easier than I thought then, I think. Oh, there's add summoned battlers. I think that's our issue. So sometimes we defer it. Battlers just summon. Yeah. Sometimes we defer it. Okay. So then I think this is fine. All right, when adding battlers, sometimes when adding battlers, we have to defer their addition to the battle, e.g. for summons. And I think we have a reason why we do that. See, what is this thing called? Battlers just summoned. For more information. However, we still need to have a parent node. We still need them to be in the scene tree so that their ready functions run. Hidden node is where we put them temporarily. Yeah, well, pretty good AI. All right, so that works and that works. Cool. Either ignore it, engage, or fight. Only time it's a win is if you're defending someone in proximity. Yeah, I was gonna say this is a random stranger in an Uber. So yeah, I think the ignore it thing was probably the best bet. Man, that's crazy. Just crazy. All right, so now we gotta go add this in wherever we initialize the battlers. Yeah, here. We instantiate the scene, what, exactly once in the entire code base? No, twice. Okay, that's fine. Either way is the same. So we do hidden battler node.add like so. Why is that not working? Why is that not working? Hidden, oh, it's called battle node. All right, sure, whatever. And then we put the same thing down in the next function. Where is the next function? I don't see it. So I'm just moving this nowhere. Instantiate battler. Huh. I don't know what I'm doing. It's instantiate scene. Oh, okay, sure. All right, so hidden battle node, add child battler, and then in ready, we want to go fetch this thing. Hidden battle node. Okay. So now in this, where we do battlers node, we need to reparent this thing. And there's some way to do that, and I don't remember exactly how. It should be pretty easy. I think it's reparent. Yeah, reparent. Good. Okay, so believe it or not, that was all the easy part. Yeah, now the hard part is that what init and ready do. Ready should just be fetching this stuff. Everything else should be gone and put into common init. And this is going to be a mess. Yeah, this is going to be a mess. I wonder where this comes from. Oh, this doesn't sound good. Why do we do this? All right, well, then this should happen pretty much first. Where do we add this? Here? Why do we do this? We can probably simplify this at some point too. All right, well, what else? Life bar.init. On health change. Set up animation frames. If is elite, do a bunch of stuff. This is a mess. This is a big mess. Am I? Have you found the child parent management system with Godot? Having worked heavily in it, I've been poking around with it lately, and having to constantly add and remove children and parents has been a bit annoying in case I miss one. Any better management designs you suggest? I think it's pretty reasonable. In general, our pattern that we do is we make a scene or like an instance of a scene and then add it to the current scene so that ready is called, and then call our own init function. And this is just what we do for practically everything, such that it's not really a problem anymore that we follow this pattern. So Godot does not have a way of like it doesn't have a built-in constructor for scenes. So you have to make your own convention for it. But it does have ready. So when something enters the scene tree, it does some things. And yeah, in that case, like most of our ready functions should look pretty similar to this, where it's just fetching some nodes that exist. And then our init can do whatever it is that the actual logic of that thing needs to do. So like set up, I don't know, and damage or something, or add another sprite to the scene if it's needed. So I don't think it's too bad. So I think I need to know more about your frustration to be able to point you in the right direction, unless that already helped, in which case, great. All right, so the only time we initialize battlers is now after adding them to the scene. Yeah. Oh, this should be moved. And this is also after adding. Okay, let's try running this. I don't think it's going to work. I bet there's going to be some like crazy errors here. Already helped to see a more robust project with the design laid out. Yeah, yeah. And we don't really have too many problems that result from this stuff. I can't think of what they'd be. Sometimes it's just initialization order of things, but that could happen anywhere. All right, best of luck, Matt. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be an easy day. All right, yeah, this broke everything. But it broke it in a way that the graphics just don't even show. So there's probably an ordering problem here if I had to guess. All right, let's go figure out the ordering problem. So what we used to do is call ready after init. And whatever code was in ready, I have now moved. So all of this is now happening here. Sprite frames path, that might not be needed anymore. Oh God, there's so much I gotta change. All right, let's go find the Phoenix thing. Here it is. Battler.init. Okay, so how does this work? Oh, we set this in the wrong order. Okay, well that might fix that. In which case, I guess we don't have any errors other than the image not showing, which I think I just fixed. But this is part 1 of boss code. We need to probably also refactor a bunch of stuff. Yeah, nice. So this is now working. Now what this lets us do is it makes sure that we have the sprite frame set up before we try using is elite. Is this used anywhere else? It's used in 2 spots. But now they should be in the exact same function. No, they're not in the same function. Drat. Drat. Oh, man. Yeah, I think we just manifest this for every enemy. All enemy data. like I change enemy data so that it's got a, oh man, it's got this like stuff about has death animation, has attack animation. Really? All right, well, we have to like bool is big sprite equals false. What does init do that needs the scene node to be ready prior to it? So in a lot of the cases we'll do something like imagine you have, well, I don't know, let's stop imagining. Let's just go look at some code here. So in this case, we get the sprite, the life bar, and the shadow. So the life bar, for example, we in init need to initialize it with a health component. So basically like the scene has a texture progress bar or whatever, and we need to set its values. So it's something ready can't do because ready won't have your health information yet. Like ready will get called when you can get the texture progress bar equals whatever here. But then you can't do like bar.value equals life value because you won't know what a life value is supposed to be. So that's where init comes in. Init would take in the life value, and then we just move this code down to here. So that's a simple example of this. And this is something that probably most code bases have to do something like that. All right, so what do we do here? Now we go to all enemy data and we make it so that a few of these are correct. We have two kinds of ogres, right? Yeah. All right, so we do is big sprite true. Why is that not working? And then same thing here. Is big sprite true? In fact, let's just copy paste this. It's also for the Phoenix and it's also for the slime. And that's it. It's not for any other graphic. And now what we can do is we can pass in whether or not this is using a big sprite. I'd love to just pass in enemy data and have it figure all this stuff out. Yeah. In fact, why is any of this here? I don't think there's any reason for this to be here. All right, I'll write this down. I think battle system.this should have most of its code moved to battler itself, e.g. init from enemy ID. Should have all the information it needs. Oh, sorry, I missed your message, Cuddlefish, and it was from 10 minutes ago. Twitch chat is just out of my view. It's the hidden battle node to help layout. So in Godot, there's a ready function, and this is called when a node enters the scene tree. So what we used to have is the way that a summon would work in battle is we would mark that a summon should happen, and then on the next frame, add the summon. So that means that ready would only be called on the next frame. And what we need is for ready to be called before init. And this violates that pattern that we have. So the hidden battle node allows us to add it to a part of the scene, which by the way, I never actually hid that. It's called hidden. Yeah. So it allows it to be added to the scene, but not show up anywhere so that ready can be called, so that we can follow this order that we have. What we had to do as a result of not being in that order is our init function would pass in a bunch of parameters that then we would save because ready wouldn't have been called yet, so we couldn't actually use any of the animation parameters that we got. So a lot of this needs to be cleaned up. And yeah, that's what we're doing now. Yesterday, I just hacked around the code. So what we can do here is, yeah, we can pass in some like has big sprite. Did I call it is big sprite? I think I did. I did, yeah. Should be has big sprite. Oops. Do you instantiate these things from scenes? Yeah. Yeah, so an example of this is right here. We have a battler and we instantiate a scene, and the scene is pretty basic. It's got a shadow, it's got a sprite, and it's got a life bar. But you can see all of this is invisible. Well, not all of it, I guess. The battler itself is invisible because we don't know what sprite we're going to have yet. So like this scene, when it's ready is called, we can now fetch these nodes, and then we need to fill in what is the correct sprite. And the reason we do it this way is because we have like a bat, a worm, a snake, or whatever else. I don't want to make like bat.tscn, worm.tscn, snake.tscn. We just have battler.tscn, and then we tell it via code, you are a snake this time, or you are a worm this time. And yeah, there are other ways you could kind of accomplish this, but yeah, I just don't like the idea of having to go through Godot and change like 40 different enemies at once because we have a different animation or something. All right, so where we leave off of this, we need to pass in whether this thing has a big sprite. Has big sprite. Enemy data.has big sprite. And I guess the same thing's going to be needed here. So right after team, we're going to add this in. And now these don't exist, so we need that to be after team, bool has big sprite. I'll simplify this stuff in a bit. I never made this, did I? No. And then same thing down here. Good, and then is elite gets replaced with this. And now I think everything should look good. Team.player false. This is fish, right? As big sprite should also be false. All right, let's try it. Instantiate the node from the scene, then call stuff on it, then add it to the scene graph. Unless I misunderstood. Instantiate the node from the scene, then call stuff on it, then add it to the scene graph. I'm not sure if they're doing something special in the Rust version of this, but like I said, the only way that ready gets called in Godot is when you've added this thing to the scene, to the scene tree. So like, let's say you need to fetch a sprite and set its texture. The only way you can fetch the sprite is if it's been added to the scene tree already. Otherwise, it'll fail. It'll say it's not part of the scene tree, so you can't fetch the sprite from it. So if you're already doing that, then it either means, one, that one of my assumptions is wrong, two, that they've changed how this works for Rust, or three, that it might not be working how you think. And I'm not sure which case we're in. So, all right, so now everything should look correct. Nice, look at that. Okay, great. This is what the battle actually should look like. Are those sprites children of the scene you've instantiated? Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's a big fix that we just did, but there's a bunch of other stuff that now we could do that I gotta think about this. So as an example, maybe we should just check this in before I mess this up any further. Yeah, we probably should. So we now have a hidden battler node. We manifest what has a big sprite. And we add this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we're looking pretty good here. All right, this is getting better. The code base is healing. You can call graph functions on that scene, like adding and removing nodes, that subscene, then add the root node of the scene to your main tree. I should look this up. Godot, like adding child to orphan, because you probably can do this, but I don't know why doesn't get node on orphan. Maybe, no, it makes sense you could, it doesn't get node work. Fetches a node can be a relative path or an absolute path. Attempts to access methods on the return value will result in an attempt to call a method on a null instance. Yeah, here. No, fetching absolute paths only works when the node is inside the scene tree. Okay, so you can fetch a relative path ahead of time. I see. I wonder then if using the unique name thing like this is considered an absolute path. I don't think it would be. Yeah, that's kind of strange. I'm not sure. Scene can have some scripts on those child nodes. You can definitely call them before adding them to the tree. Yeah. So this is what I thought would be the blocker there, is that you couldn't get a node on a scene that hasn't been added to the tree. You apparently can. You just need to path to it in a certain way. So you can't use an absolute path for it. And since I believed this to be a problem in our code base, it must mean we were using absolute paths. But the only way we ever did this was via this notation and this notation. Whoops. And this notation. And neither is an absolute path in my mind. This is definitely relative, but this might be considered absolute because maybe it takes the percent sign and it expands it to whatever the absolute path would have been. I don't know. But yeah, so what you're talking about would work. And actually it means that we could do things differently here too. We could have just not added this to the scene tree yet and done the git node calls from init. That would definitely have worked as long as we pathed these correctly. And in this particular case, this should have been a percent sign, by the way, but in this particular case, this would have been fine. I kind of want to try this out, but I don't really want to sidetrack myself to see, are those considered absolute paths? I guess we could do Godot unique name absolute path. I'm not sure if this will show anything. Scene unique names. Do they mention absolute paths on here? No, they don't. Okay. You can have those get nodes done in init. Yeah. I guess that is the fastest way to do this. Just move this down to here. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, so I wonder if this would change how we actually do anything. Because yeah, I assume this is going to work. And then the thing that I wasn't sure about is if we could do this. Because like I said, I don't think I've ever used an absolute path in a get node call. You can have a sort of scene instance in it if you have a sort of factory method like get x args. But it'd still be a convention in your code base, just something you automatically call, right? Wait, for this to even be testing it, we would need to have the witch doctor in here, I think. But yeah, I'm guessing there's no problem with this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this, like an old version, this didn't work or something. Get node not in scene tree. I would expect this to be a closed issue if one even existed. Because I somehow internalized this. Huh. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I got this in my head. I wonder if it's in my notes anywhere. I don't even have any references to get node in here. Oh, yeah. I don't know how I got that in my head. Well, this is the pattern we use for pretty much the entire code base. And yeah, I guess we don't need this pattern necessarily. It's also not really hurting us. I did learn something. I'm living up to my name. All right, we got to check this in. I think I looked through all of it, But let's check in things, or let's click the plus button at least as I look through these just to make sure. Yep, that's all fine. That's fine. That is this all one file? Yeah. Yep, this is fine. This should not be checked in. Enemy data, so let's ignore that. Instance data. Wait, no, enemy data should be checked in. It's instance data that shouldn't be checked in. Yeah. And then battler should be checked in. Yeah. Okay, good. Manifest has big sprite for enemies. So before this, we had a hard-coded is elite. We'd hard-coded is elite to true. What it should have been is has big sprite, which is also hard-coded, but at least now it's done per enemy. This makes battles look normal again, rather than using large sprites for every character, even when they weren't large. I had to do an int node, child node. Yeah, that's nice logic that's also in GDScript, and it's just not in C# by default, which would be really nice if it existed because it would cut out a lot of effort for me. Yeah. I guess I should write a comment somewhere about this hidden node not really being needed. Yeah. No, this node technically wouldn't be needed if we didn't rely on a ready function at all, and we technically don't have to. I had somehow gotten it in my head that we needed to fetch nodes from ready. Technically, all of these ready references should be node.ready. That way it doesn't go to this function's ready, yeah. But we could do it through our init functions. All right, I'll just write that we clarify a comment here. I'm not actually going to change anything yet. Okay, so the next thing I want to work on here is that in our init functions, we're saving all this stuff off for kind of no reason. Like has death animation is only used for setup animation frames. And setup animation frames is only used from, no, it's used in here. Oh, because this all used to be in ready before, but now this is unnecessary because should setup animation frames is only ever called from here. So as long as we've done everything ahead of time correctly. All right, I just got to make sure this is based on stuff we already have. We have a whole bunch of components. This is in common init. So we can just do this afterward. Yeah. So I delete that and put this here. And then I delete this and put this here. But then we have one other bit of code, which is has big sprite. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, okay. So now we can delete this. Should set up animation frames, delete this. Okay, so that's part of this. Now setup animation frames can take in all of these parameters, I guess. Inherited scenes, yeah, we've been using inherited scenes quite a lot. There are a lot of oddities with inherited scenes in Godot itself, like the editor. And one of them, for example, let's say this is an inherited scene and you go back to the base scene. If you like move something around, it might stomp on any changes in all your derived scenes. So you basically have like base scene and it's got a sprite, and you've got some derived scene which inherits from base scene and it's got that same sprite. If you were to like make this invisible and then save, and then make it visible, and then save. It doesn't, if you'd overridden the visibility here now, it won't know that it was overridden anymore. So there's a lot of like little weird things you got to be careful about if you save things through the editor itself when it comes to inherited scenes. So yeah, if you ever run into weird problems with inherited scenes, feel free to ask me in Discord, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a weird problem. Suppression is unnecessary. Oh, because of this? Because it could be null. All right, so we don't need this here anymore. We can just pass in all of these things. Has death animation, has attack animation, has attack 2 animation, and sprite sheet path. I guess the sprite sheet path should go first. Then I think we can delete all this, but I got to make sure. So let's take a look. This is in setup animation frames. Yep, we're good. This is in setup animation frames. Yep. Yeah, this code is going to get better. So now all of this can get deleted. And presumably the sprite sheet path can be too. It's used in common init. This is not needed anymore. Well, it is actually kind of needed. Huh. What do we do about that? I know what we can do. If we don't have this, then just do this code. And then in setup animation frames, if we do have that, then set the sprite sheet path. All right, so now we plug in. We're getting there. We are getting there. We plug in all of these, and we set that they're all strings. And then we stop accessing these with underscores. Oh, whoops, those weren't supposed to be strings, my bad. These are supposed to be bools. Delete that, delete that, delete that. Then we delete these 3 things from here. And this, and this. And then this has to be a question mark? Why is this a question mark? Why would you not pass in the sprite sheet path? Oh, for players? Battler.init. We don't pass in a sprite sheet path there, but that's also a different constructor. Here we pass it in. Here we don't pass it in. Yeah, that shouldn't... Oh, I see. Because we don't have a different way of constructing an enemy. Okay, fine. So if it wasn't passed in, then we just assume that it's the player characters. Hey, Stabo. Remove this useless assignment to local variable. Value is ignored. Oh, right, because of that. I was like, it's definitely not ignored. It's because I didn't remove all of these. Will there be a prestiging system in the game? No. This is not meant to be like a traditional idle game. And it's actually one of the things I call out on the Steam page directly, because I don't want people to get that impression, but they'll probably never scroll down here and see this. So like no systems just for the sake of them, prestige, ascensions, experience points, equipment. Like none of these exist in the game. And I don't want them to ever exist. And I don't think they need to. There is actually one person who read it. Like they made a YouTube video and they like fully read the entire Steam page and like recited it while they were playing the game. And I was like, yeah, nice. People actually do read this stuff sometimes. But yeah, in general, I don't expect people to read that. Also, I'm not trying to say that like Myung Choi here should have read that before asking a question or something. I just, if someone is a prospective buyer of this game, hopefully they would consider that. The game's not for sale yet, so there's no reason to do a lot of research on it. But yeah, let me go into this a little more detail. So this is like an idle light game, and this term doesn't really mean anything. So I'll just say this: if you sat around and never clicked, you would probably eventually beat the game. It doesn't exactly work this way. You'd still have to click occasionally, But yeah, you'd probably beat the game eventually. So in that sense, it is still kind of idle, but it's not meant to be played that way. Like a lot of idle first games are games that you leave open for like 400 hours and you're still only a tenth of the way through the game. Yeah. Hey, Zyphon. And yeah, maybe someone in chat can answer your question. I am going to take a quick break because there's an ad break that's about to start anyway. So where I left off here is got rid of I'll just look at the diff. Look at the diff I worked on. I haven't tested it yet. Okay, I will be back in just a bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. By the way, for those who've never seen this, you can type join in Twitch chat and jump and play. I'll be back in a bit. Hello again. Stiff competition at the end. Again, for anyone who hasn't seen this and ever wants to participate in the future, it's just type join in Twitch chat, and then you can type J in a number. So like -45 makes me jump to the left, and like J15 makes me jump slightly to the right, but mostly upward. But for now, close the game. Hey Celsius, and hey Iconohacks. All right, so we just worked on this. I did not rerun this. I want to see if it's working. By the way, I looked into the Steam announcements yesterday with their hardware that's going to come out in 2026, and I think it's all the more reason to work on controller support for Skeleseller, and really, honestly, any Steam game that comes out in the future. It's like, how many people are now going to have a controller or a Steam machine or already had a Steam Deck? and you'll just reach that many more users. When it was just the Steam Deck, I was like, well, how many people really have a Steam Deck? And I know it wasn't nothing, but now I think it's going to get to be more and more. Okay, so as long as everything looks good in this battle and we don't see anything weird, and I don't currently see anything weird, yeah, I think it's looking good. Excited about the new controller and the Steam Machine. Yeah, they both look really good. Also, you know, it's kind of weird to say, I'm in a category of gamers that it's like, I want my work machine for work, and maybe even for just work. But then my gaming machine can be whatever. It just needs to play games. Now, the weird thing about this, I don't know how the Steam Machine's going to work with anti-cheat stuff that's Windows only. You can presumably put Windows on it if you want to, but SteamOS doesn't work with the anti-cheat stuff, does it? Because there are a lot of games that are Windows only because they just make one kernel level driver. Hey, Cyan. So yeah, I'm excited about this sort of thing. I don't know if I'll buy the first generation of this because I just bought a gaming PC maybe this year. I don't remember. Maybe it was last year. It works with a bunch of anti-cheat. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. All right, well, this is working now. So we got rid of a whole bunch of code that was pointless. And I'm happy about that. All in all, how much smaller did this file get? Yeah, 10 lines smaller. That's pretty good. But I think there's some more improvements we can do here. Yeah, you can install Windows on it. It is just a computer. But I think the problem is once you install Windows, you lose the sort of benefits of having the Steam OS on it. And if all you're going to do is play games and all you're going to do is play Steam games, I think Steam OS is like the best OS you can have on it. Because the Steam Deck has been really nice for that. But then every once in a while, it's like, oh, I want to play a Windows only game, or it's got anti-cheat on it or something. Yeah. I guess you could maybe dual boot SteamOS and Windows. All right, so this is done. And this is tested. This is finished. Could have most of its code moved to that. Probably manifest which enemies are elite, which ones are large. Yeah, we did that already. So I got to address the to-do items, and I got to check this in. Improve battler initialization. So we no longer store variables that were only passed to set up animation frames. We used to do this because the initialization order of a battler was wonky. Hey, Stockton. If the frame can play non-VR Steam games, that would be very tempting. Basically, a portable console that gives you VR too. Yeah, but when you're playing non-VR games, you have a headset on. I get that if you're okay with having a headset on, it's actually probably an even better experience because it's going to feel like it's higher resolution. But I think that's a pretty big negative for a lot of people. Like imagine you're playing, I don't know, Stardew Valley. You don't need VR. And yeah, I don't know, you're sitting there like antisocially in the living room or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, for some people, I think it's going to be a non-issue, but I think for most people, it's going to be kind of a problem. I don't know exactly what caused a lot of people to get motion sick with VR. I wonder if that's gotten better or like tech can fix that. It might be something that tech can just kind of never fix. Like people on a boat, for example. I guess you could just take Dramamine or something. But yeah, is there some like tech way to fix that? It's basically like a Steam Deck VR. Yeah, no, I get the selling point. It's just like I said, I think a big negative is that you've got this thing on your head now. And I looked at the weight, it's about 500 grams. I looked at the distribution, it's supposed to be more in the back of your head or something. So, but still, with that said, it's something on your face. And I don't know about the usability of, okay, someone's talking to you now in real life. Can you like see them? Can you pause the game somehow and look at them through the cameras? Do you have to take the headset off? Is it comfortable to take the headset off for those times? Like one of the examples, let me pull this out. Hang on a second. So like this, a lot of headphones, when you're done listening for a second, you put it around your neck, and like now people judge how comfortable is this to have around your neck. Like, is it poking your throat, or do you stretch it out farther? And then when you put it back on, now there's space up here. Like those little usability things, I think are going to be a little bit annoying. They're not going to be major though. free drugs in the game. Free driving. Hey, Galaxy Inferno. It is indeed almost weekend time. All right, we have some more to-do items I got to look through, and it's these 3 that I want to do. So pull this from the enemy data. Yeah, I'd like to have a way to indicate that this has its own entire sprite frames here, and if this is set, we go down a different initialization route. It's not hard to do. We could just do a string sprite frames path question mark equals null. And if this is set, we just ignore all the other things. Yeah. So it's one or the other. All enemy data. So now we go to the Phoenix. The Phoenix is literally the only one that does this. So we set sprite frames path is equal to that. And then we change the initialization in here. Finish your 30 slides at 2 a.m. Got great feedback. Ready to do almost nothing tomorrow now. Probably have lots of overtime accumulated anyway. Nice. Yeah, it's going to be a treat yourself day. Get some good food, relax, play some Factorio, realize that that's not relaxing, play a different game that is relaxing. So this is what I want to change here. We want to check if enemy data dot sprite frames path is not null. Then we initialize this. And we replace this bit, whoops. We replace this bit with that path. Otherwise, we initialize it the way that we had it before. Okay. I did, in fact, just Factorio. Them's fighting words. Oh my God. Factorio felt so close to work for me that I played for 45 minutes and I'm like, I am not going to learn another minute of this game. I'm sure it's a great game. I bet if I didn't work as a programmer, I would probably like it. But I cannot play factory games. Cook for us later because he has time off now. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, that sounds great. All right, that should be the first fix. Let's go try this. I wonder how many specifically coders or programmers, and not people who do this 100% of the time, but people who at least classify themselves as like, yes, I am a programmer. I wonder how many people feel the same way about factory games that I do. That they just feel like you're doing more work. Because I know that a lot of techie people like factory games. Hey, Pleb. I'm the same. I've tried several. Feels like programming with boxing gloves on. Yeah. Have you tried 3D factory games? I wonder if that would be different. What factory games have I tried? I've tried Astroneer. I keep forgetting the name of that one that someone told me about before, that you're like underground and oh God, I can never remember the name of this game. I actually think Pige did a video on it, so let me see if I can go find it based on that. What was it called? Tectonica. Okay, so I played that game, Tectonica, Astroneer. What else have I tried? I guess I've tried Factorio. I did like, I think it's called Stonehearth. No, it's not called Stonehearth. I always forget the names of these games. Stupid Factory Town or something is what it's called. Factory Town, yeah. Factory Town I liked. These I did not like. Yeah, Factory Town. Does Age of Empires and games like that count as factory games? I'm a dev, but I like those. I don't think so. I'd consider those to be more RTS. It does for sure feel like that, but without annoying meetings and stupid requirements. They need to add meetings to that game. Hey, Deepar. I know I spent all my time there. Yeah, that's MOBAs for me. I haven't really ever played a MOBA, and I think I would get addicted to them. So here's what I think. I played Vampire Survivors. I liked it a lot. I haven't really liked any Survivors game since. And I think the reason why is I got my fill from that one game. I think that's what happened. So I wonder if I liked Factory Town and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with the factory genre now. Like, yep, that was pretty fun. Let's be done with it. But yeah, Survivors games. I just tried, what's that one that's like Diablo? I can't remember the name of this. Diablo like Survivors game. It's something in Torment. Halls of Torment. Halls of Torment. I played Halls of Torment for 30 minutes, which was exactly equal to one run, because that's as long as they can go on for. And I was super bored at like the 20-minute mark. And I just wanted the run to be done, but I'm like, I'm almost finished. Let me just finish the run. And I got done and I closed it and I've never opened it again. And it's a Survivors game and it didn't seem to do anything super special to me. And I don't have patience when it comes to games. So I, yeah, I've been playing the finals for a while now, and I've been playing a World of Warcraft version for a little while now. And like, those are my two games for now. I was addicted to League of Legends. Yeah, this is a very common story. Getting addicted to Dota or League of Legends. Only one to hook me in was Satisfactory. Yeah. Yeah, I should probably give Factorio another shot. The top games on my list to give another shot. Top games, list of games that I didn't like that I want to try again. A Hollow Knight. I didn't like this, but every single person who ever talks about it has liked it, so I feel like I should try it again. And I mean, I guess Silk Song's part of that too, but to be fair to Silk Song, I didn't like it because I didn't have a controller. So I only played for about 10 or 15 minutes. And it's just not fun on keyboard. And is there any other game that's on there that I want to try again? No, I think that's about it. I just want to give Hollow Knight another shot, see if that's good. It's such a surprise. It's so hectic and you're so calm. Oh man, I love it. It's so much fun. And it's like just the right amount of mindless. I play team deathmatch and just walk around with my swords, slicing away at people. Nicer and cleaner than Satisfactory. What about Anno 1800? I don't think I played that. Did I play FTL? I played FTL for like 5 or 10 minutes, I think. I do not give a very honest shot to a lot of games. If I'm not hooked in a small amount of time, I will just not play it anymore. And yeah, FTL was one of those games. In general, if a game makes me think at all, and I'm like, I've just gotten done with work, I'm like, I'm not playing this game. I do not want to think when I'm playing a game. Yeah. This looks interesting. What is this? This is an RTS? City Builder? Okay, never mind. It does not look interesting anymore. Yeah, this is probably fun. I played, what's the Cities Skylines? I played that for maybe a couple hours, which is longer than I normally play games for. I played this for a bit, and I was like, okay, it's fine. I like The Sims a lot, though. I guess I did play a lot of The Sims 4. That was pretty good. Yeah. So no Zachtronics games? No Zachtronics games. Again, I'm sure they're great games. I might like them if I were in a different mindset, but if it feels anything like work, I don't want to do it. Gotta play some Dynasty Warriors. I've played a little bit of Dynasty Warriors like way back when, like GameCube era. And it just didn't hook me. There was something that just felt kind of meaningless about slaying a whole bunch of enemies, and then all of a sudden the boss comes around and it's like, it felt kind of like a superhero movie where your power level scales to the plot. I don't like that concept. Like, there are a lot of superhero movies where it's like, oh, Spider-Man is tackling the world's strongest villain, and then no, there's just sort of random common thief and he struggles against him, and it's like, well, the plot called for him to struggle. And that's kind of how Dynasty Warriors felt. It's like you slay up 4,000 enemies and then you come across like one elite enemy and it's like, oh man, they're giving me a challenge. That just doesn't sit well with me. All right, did I test this? I don't actually know if I tested this. But all we need to do is start a battle, and if it looks good, then we're fine. And one to-do item will have been knocked off the list. Nice. Yeah. I was going to ask you next year to play one out of pure curiosity and seeing how better programmer does. For, a Zachtronics game? Yeah, it would feel like work. The other thing too, by the way, I'm very just critical of games in general. For Next Fest this year in June, I played a bunch of games, and somewhere I've got, let me see if I can find this. Next Fest. Somewhere I've got a spreadsheet of the games that I covered. Yeah, here it was. And I rated them all. So I have a rating. My rating system was 3 thumbs down all the way to 3 thumbs up. And you can see this one is positive, negative, 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 neutral, neutral, positive, neutral, 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 negative, negative, neutral. So there were like, what, 5 positive games by the end of this, and I played 20 of them. I just generally do not like most games that I play. And I'm not trying to say I'm giving them an honest shot. I'm not a reviewer or anything. But that experience made me say, I'm not playing games the rest of this week. I'll stick to my current set of games. Okay, this looks good. So I want to check this in. I want to check this in. I want to check this in. I guess for enemy data, I should probably write that you either provide the sprite frames, either provide this, or I'll just leave it and just see what it's used for. Okay, so address a to-do item. You can now manifest the sprite frames path in enemy data. Hey, Arrow. You only do indie games? No, I don't tend to like indie games. Although, I don't think it's entirely fair. I guess I don't tend to like games, so it's probably the same hit or miss rate based on whether it's indie or not. I really, really like Stardew Valley. So the indie games I've liked the best. Stardew Valley, Terraria. Do you count Dead Cells? I wonder. Dead Cells was really good. I played a lot of Enter the Gungeon. I thought that was pretty good. I like a lot of roguelike games, I guess. But yeah, the games I'm playing now are the finals in WoW, which are not indie games. So yeah, I don't tend to care too much about how much money was put in the game. Oh yeah, Nuclear Throne was really good. That's another indie game. Played that a lot. All right, so we got 2 more to-do items. There's this one, pull this from the instance data, something like enemy layout function. We need an enumeration for this that's only going to be used to call position Phoenix. Cost to unlock. So it'd be an instance data, and we would have something here for, yeah, we need some enumeration. Can I just put it here? Enemy layout normal. We don't even need to do this. Or Phoenixes. Yeah. Use trailing comma, sure. Okay, so now we put the enemy layout here. And we're going to set it to normal by default. And then in all instance data, we'll set the forest to use a layout of the phoenixes. And then in the battle system, we'll change this so that we get this from the instance data. So basically all we have to do is if all instance data dot get location data instance ID dot layout. Oh no, we can't do this. Oh God. Man, fine. Where is this? Battlers to revive. Reviving doesn't need to know about this. Hey, Sully. Yeah, this pulls it from room spawn data. All enemies spawn data. Okay, so we want to pass in the layout here. I guess we take it from instance data and get the layout. Yeah, nice. Okay, so I have this taken in enemy layout. Layout equals default, normal. Probably should call this default. In fact, I didn't even call it normal to begin with. No, I did call it normal. All right, so if the layout is normal, yeah, there we go. And then we just need to change all other colors of this. No, wait, we don't. We only need to change it in that one case that I just did, right? Create player battlers. Yeah, I just need to look through every instance of add battler. Vibe coding an app, and so far it's mind-blowing. It's pretty crazy to see, especially if you know how to code already, how much vibe coding can save you potentially. I've mentioned this a bunch on stream, but I've only vibe coded one thing for now, and it was the metric server for Skeleseller. And it's really, really basic. All it needed to be was a server to store JSON in a database. But I told it to vibe code this thing, and it made this file, which none of this is that hard to validate that it's working how you expect. Even just looking at the code, like it's all pretty clear. And yet it's 150 lines of code I would have had to write myself and took maybe like 2 minutes for the AI to generate it. And I would have needed to figure out all these little things here. Like, oh yeah, how do you combine file paths on Python? Like I'd look this up and I'd be like, oh yeah, path.join. Okay, how do I get the directory name from a file? Like all these little things I'd have to go search because I don't remember Python that well. Now I don't want to spend styling components really easy, save months of work and many headaches. I think you're saying you don't want to spend time doing that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I think AI can be a pretty useful tool. Okay, so we got to look through every single one of these. This is players, that's fine. We have, what, 4 more? All right, this is revived. That's fine because it's going to use the same position. We have summoned battlers. This is fine for now. Yeah, this is fine for now. Okay, let's try this out. So again, we should see the exact same thing we're already looking at, but the trick here is that I need to go look at another instance and make sure that that one looks fine too. So we'll start an instance against the phoenixes. Good, this is good. And then we go start in the Inferno, and they should be laid out in the 3x3 grid, which I guess that doesn't prove anything. I think the proof would be if we went to like this, for example, because this does not have 9 enemies. Yeah, nice. All right, pretty good. If Steam enforces the label made with AI, would you put the label on your game and stop using AI? I would just put the label on the game. Here's how I look at this though. I consider that label now to be like largely using AI. So as an example, I use Copilot. So technically I'm using AI to make the game, but we don't have, there's no AI art. There's no AI sounds or music. And there's like very little AI text right now. Like I generated, what was it? I generated a bunch of like quest names. Where are those? Yeah, like this. These names don't matter. They're just random names for NPCs. So like I had AI do this. But I don't think most people would play the game and be like, oh yeah, this is an AI game because there's like some AI names in here. But if that's what Steam considers it to be, I'll have to look into that. Then I'll need to use that label anyway. And then people will just start to guess that all these random things were made using AI even though they weren't. All right, so I'm gonna go check this in. Yeah, I gotta write this down when we manifest these. Enemy ID dot Phoenix. Need to set the layout to enemy layout dot phoenixes. Yeah, AI summary would say it's made with AI. Oh, it already says that now? Or that it would say that, I guess, in the future? There was a game, man, I really need to learn the names of certain games. There was a game that was released semi-recently. Oh, I don't even know how to describe this. It's something about mining, and it looks, the graphics don't look all that polished. You're like shooting bullets at at mining nodes to harvest them. This is called new 2D mining game. Roguelike, maybe? Deeplands, is that it? No. I don't know. I don't know how to find this. And by the time I find it, I'm going to forget what I wanted to say about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to find it. Oh, that was a waste of time. Sorry, everyone. That's why I hate those binary labels. Same for images, and if they're edited, just because I edited the exposure and blurred the background doesn't mean I changed my weight or body or something. Yeah, I think this is like early access on Steam. Early access, at some point, maybe everyone had the same idea of what it meant, but now it means so many different things. So Steam just added that little blurb at the top that says something like, what are you doing in EA? When will this launch? And whatever other number of questions. So you can clarify it for your players. I think the same thing's going to be needed for any AI stuff. Like, how did you use AI? And it does require that people be honest to some extent. If you're like, well, 90% of the images were AI, 0% of the music, like 50% of the text, but 100% of the translated text, something like that. SteamWorld Dig, I don't think it was that. I think that's a slightly older game too, right? Yeah, I'm thinking of something that was released like in the last few months. And I don't know. Maybe if I just do this. Anyway, what I was gonna say is, yeah, my whole point with this was that you just need to make a good game, and it doesn't necessarily need to look the best. Is it any of these? No, I don't know what it is. And so I don't think AI matters as much. That was it. That was my only point. Also, I'm curious now. Why does this have mixed reviews? Half baked, and boy, is it baked. Don't play this game. It's just worse Terraria. Because I saw this. This showed up on Reddit recently as like some crazy bug or circumstance with Steam made them not get the extra exposure at launch. But then they ended up getting the extra exposure, which is nice. Just a blank label with no context will hurt devs. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And by the way, I'm wondering how many people are trying to boycott things with AI and can't detect that something is AI? Because I think we're starting to see this a little bit more. Like my wife showed me a video the other day and she's like, "Oh, look at this funny cat video." It was not a real video. And I'm like, I said that. I'm like, "This is AI." And she's like, "Is it?" And there's no like major point to be made there. I mean, it's not like my wife's trying to boycott AI, but I imagine someone out there probably is and doesn't know how to identify it yet exactly. And I get that you can, it doesn't undermine their cause or their reason for doing something. It can still trick you. No AI art, music, etc. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have such a strong stance on this stuff, I guess. I feel like even if someone uses AI art and music, it's not a problem. It can, and I guess a lot of this comes down to like how do you define art in general? Art as a high level category of something. Like let's say you consider that video games are art. Well, video games are a compilation of a bunch of different things. There's the graphics, there's the sound, there's the gameplay, there's all this other stuff that I always talk about. And is the art the combination of all those things? Do you consider each individual piece to be art? So now, what if you have someone who's got an idea but can't do one of these parts and offloads it to AI? Is the video game now not art? You're totally not banned. Should use AI to detect things made with AI. If they want to boycott, they can't tell. Yeah, I mean, if your reason for not liking AI is, let's say, environmental impact or something, then you still wouldn't do that either. All right, so this is now done. Manifest enemy layout in instance data. And now we have one more to-do item, and it's move all the positioning stuff into another file. So I'd like to do this. How do we do this, though? Convert grid position to world position? What does this do? First slot tile X. I think all of these can be moved to another file. Is this only used by these functions too? Yeah, I'm going to try this, and I think this is going to go poorly. But let's just figure it out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to move all of this to another file in the same folder. This is in the ECS thing. We should probably put it in battles, actually. So I'll call this battle positioner. And then we'll just do public static class battle positioner. And this is going to break everything. So all of these private void functions need to be public static void. Yeah, I guess we just change private to public static. Then go import everything. We have quite a lot to import here. Link these things, the ECS team. Slowly light up the code base here. Get empty slots doesn't exist. Get empty slots. This is protected. This is not good. Why is this protected? Because does it get overridden? No. But it probably accesses, yeah, filter battlers by team. So we need to pass in a battle system. But yeah, I think we put this in here too. Can we make this public static? Could also just make it an extension class. Or sorry, a partial class. Like we say that this is a partial class battle system, and then we make another partial class inside battle positioner.cs. Okay, so now we take in a battle system here. Go import that, put this here. Anything else? Get empty slots. Get empty slots comes from this. So this needs to take in a battle system too. Yeah, I guess everything's going to use that. And then put that there. Good. Probably the same thing for these other ones. This is literally just a sorting function. And this is probably not used by anything outside of this. I should make sure that these are private then. Where's my to-do list? There it is. Make sure any public static functions that can be private are private. Any other red here? Just this. And that can just be imported. All right, move this into a namespace. Namespace source game source battles. All right, and now we fix all of these bugs. So this goes to battle positioner and passes in this. Next. This also takes something in. All right, we're almost done with this. And that's it. Does the code still work? Because if so, it's nice that we just got rid of like 6 functions from this file. Now there's one problem. And yeah, it was in a file I wasn't looking at. There we go. Then we just have some minor cleanup to do after that. There's a warning, but that warning is unrelated to this. It's because I'm automatically skipping the title screen, but in a hacky way. All right, so this looks good. They're still being positioned like the phoenixes that they should be. We use method here. It's a class function. Yeah. All right, and these should get, well, there's only one bat. I guess this doesn't actually show us too much. But if we go to the volcano, there are 3 bats. And 3 bats shows us a lot. Yes, good. All right, nice. So now anything that's not used outside of this new battle positioner. This one definitely is, but I'm still going to check it. This one also definitely is. Anything that uses the battle system should be. And this one should be too. Yep, good. Okay, but then these might not be. Yeah, this one's private. This one is used outside of this. Okay, so we just bump this one down. And what about this? Just use there. So private on that too. And there we have it. All right, so this is what's nice about this change. You look at the bottom here. What was already a very large file is now slightly less large. We got rid of about 100 lines of code. Ideally, we move some other things out of here too, but it's just never really been a priority. And even this wasn't really worth doing. It was just quick enough to do. Had to sneeze. Actually did sneeze. As long as I don't announce sneezes before I do, I'm able to sneeze. Some good work already. This stuff, I feel, okay, so as of this morning, I know you made that joke about, oh, this is what the rogue always looks like. That's the only visible change we've made so far. Today is going well, but it feels better when we're making changes that players actually see. Refactor out battle positioning functions. This was just to cut down on what is already a mega file. Battle system.cs. Yeah. All right, so we're done with that. We're done with that. I wrote that this could be moved. I don't think I want to do this now because this follows the whole, like, we don't really have to do it now. But yeah, I don't like this. All we really need is the enemy data, right? Aren't we just pulling from there no matter what? Yeah, we are. So I'd love to simplify this code, but I'm not going to do that now. This would let us greatly simplify how we initialize. I'm just going to write this on my list over here. All right, let's put this in the afternoon tasks. If we even do that. That part's done. Hey, Drew, how you doing? Drew, it just struck me. I haven't met you in real life, have I? There's a Drew that I know, but I don't know their last name. And I see you've got a profile picture, but it's too tiny for me to pull up right now. No, I don't think I met you. No, okay, yeah. Okay. Just checking. Rarely someone will come in and not make it clear that they already know me if they've met me in real life. That seems like the kind of thing you'd want to remark on. And every once in a while, someone I'm not really in touch with will see my stream somewhere. Like every once in a while, I'll be on Hacker News or on the Twitch front page or something. Someone will be like, oh my God, you stream on Twitch? That's always fun. It's pretty rare though. I've never hit like mega streamer territory. All right, so where we leave off of this, we got done with all the Phoenix stuff that I can think of, but we never actually finished coding the rest of the abilities. Where are the abilities? In here somewhere? Yeah, here it is. All right, so every time a Phoenix revives, it should probably power up the other ones. I don't know, should it? I guess otherwise the battle might last forever. You can always flee. But yeah, I think it'd be good if they just kept getting stronger. Yeah, I like this idea. Yeah, I like that idea. Is it Zakaria? Or Zachariah? I gotta stop doing that. All right, so powering up the other ones. We already have the Phoenix buff. And this isn't even that hard to do. So we have Empower Spirit. How does this work? Get an ally that is not the summoner. And then play a sound and give them a power buff. Okay, seems pretty straightforward. Let's just copy paste this. So on death, we set time until revive. We're also going to trigger a power buff here. So get allies. And all we care about is that they're living allies. So we should be able to just stop that. And do one of these. So if they're none, don't do anything. If they're none, the battle's over. Then set the animation. We don't need to do that. Get a random target. No, we're going to go through all targets. So for each node target, and then put this down here. All right, so play a sound, sure. Might need a special sound for this. All right, percent power over base. How much power do we want to grant every time a phoenix dies? Maybe like 10% power, percent power bonus equals 0.1. And then get rid of this, base bonus, total bonus, duration. Duration should be forever. Power buff, TB equals new. All right, how do you fill this out? Affected entity, source entity, power increase. Power increase is an absolute amount? Yeah, it is. Okay, so we need this. Power buff from percent power. Power buff dot that. All right, so affected entity is going to be the target. Source entity is going to be this. The amount is going to be percent power bonus, and the duration is going to be, I mean, pretty much infinite. I guess let's just set float.max value. And then add the effect. Do I not have this on effects component? Is there not just like an add effect here? There is not. Okay. I then create sticky text over them that says empower. What's a more thematic thing for maybe rage? Rage. Sky blue, let's make it red. All right, there we go. So when a phoenix dies, the other ones, maybe it should say enrage. Yeah. The other ones get enraged. But this is actually not that strong because the way that this works is there's Phoenix 1, 2, and 3 in the battle. So let's say this one goes kaput. These now both get plus 10% power. And then this one will revive itself, but it'll still be at plus 0% power. And then if this one dies, this will go up to 10, and this will go up to 20. And then when it revives, it'll be at 0 again. So we should probably make them enraged to be like 50% stronger, right? Or 25% or something? Something pretty big. Oh, well, let's try it and see what happens. Was the Herman Miller chair worth it? You know, more and more, I'm beginning to think this is not exactly the chair I should be using. Like right now, I'm sitting on my leg. I want one of those like wide chairs, I think, that just lets me sit cross-legged probably. Which is also probably not good for my posture. Like if I just sat in this properly, yes, it is a good chair, but it's not what I naturally do. So maybe I should just fix my posture. Can't wait to play this on the Steam machine next year. I can't wait either. Yeah, dead fish, welcome in. Also, hi, Molbeck. Okay, so what was I going to do? I was going to test this, but I thought there was some other thing I want to try first. I don't recall. Oh, yeah, that's right. All enemy data. I need to give them an attack. So they should have a new basic attack. Now they do a lot of damage, so they're probably going to murder me. So let's set this to 10 for now, just to test it out. I'm getting hip pains from sitting in my Office Depot chair weird for years. Yeah, man, I've said this to myself in the past. Posture is non-negotiable. And every time I'm always like, but I could probably just swing bad posture for a little bit. Hey, Chase. What'd you use for the search you just did? I think you're talking about this. This is just the command palette. I just happened to move it from the top of the screen to the middle of the screen. Hurt my ankle and couldn't sit on my leg or foot for so long. It was horrible. Yeah, they have like wider chairs and they have good posture. You can use good posture. Hey, Gojo, what's your take on AI stealing jobs from people in the future? I think it's gonna happen whether we want it to or not. So I think it's a matter of what do we do as a result of people losing jobs if it happens en masse? And I think that's something for governments to solve, which is unfortunate because I think there's a lag time between a reality and when we act on that reality. And as shown by just general tech legislature over the years, that lag time is very long. So I think it's a little worrisome. Okay, we're gonna try running this again. And hang on, I got a cough. Excuse me. All right, so the Phoenixes should do 10 damage to most of these adventurers. So we should see 10s appear. Yep. But then when one of them dies, we should start to see them doing, I guess, 12.5. And then if another one dies, we should see up to 15. But the original one might have revived at that point. So yeah, let's let this play out for a bit. Cool. Okay, so one died. These enraged. Now they're doing 12 damage. Now this one's doing 15. And oh, it showed enrage. Even the oh, reviving doesn't work anymore. No, it needs to be reparented. No. Battle system, revive. Battlers to revive. We either revive battlers here. Reparent. It's been removed. Oh. Okay, so I guess what we could do here, I think we could check if battlers node dot, is there like an is inside tree? Yeah, here. If it is inside the tree already, then reparent it. Otherwise, add it. Battlers node dot add child. I think that'll fix this. Open question. Is it mean or wrong to give a new team member a task to reduce the font size, improve content density across an app, knowing full well all the side effects that will spawn from the change? I think it's... I say this a lot with my answers, but I guess it depends on your goal. If your goal is like test to see if they realize this, then I'd probably just give them X hours to figure this out. And then regardless of whether they do, help them. And if your goal is to actually like get the work done, then the answer is yes, it's mean. Because you know this ahead of time, so I would say that you should talk to them about the complexity. I'm also not sure if testing them is mean in itself. But anyway, I think I'd steer toward the answer on average being that yes, it is mean, and probably some communication is the proper solution. All right, we got to test this again. Okay, so they're doing different amounts of damage because there's a paladin in the party, and that makes this really hard to track. But this Phoenix is going to die, and now these got enraged. And now this one revives itself, but it doesn't do it properly. Does it still say the thing about reparenting? It does. That's not good. I don't know why that's happening. Yeah, I don't know why that's happening. Oh boy. All right, well, node needs to be reparented. What would that even imply? I want to see something. Yeah, because I want to see what this actually means. Oh, maybe I'm correct about this and this just isn't the right function to call. What does this do? Turns true if it's currently inside a scene tree. I guess if it's that its parent. This always returns a node, right? I'm going to try that. I don't know if this is going to go any better. Yeah, I think what Undead Fish suggested is a pretty good idea. Also, I don't have a good way to quickly explain everything that needs to be taken into account. I can hand it off to someone else, but it's also good for learning, kind of. Yeah, like I said, I think Undead Fish's idea is pretty good. You could say, like, I want you to investigate this task and tell me how long it might take to fix or to do. And if they come back and they're like 10 minutes and they look like this, then there's a problem. But if they're like 3 hours and they look like this, then then they're on the right track. Hey, Tay. Please ask them as part of the task some of how you feel about this task with one emoji. I think that's incredibly important. We don't use tone of voice or expressions on your face. We need a digital approximation of how you feel. Okay, so please actually revive this character. No, why is this happening? What does this even mean? Node needs to be reparented. Let me just search the Godot issues page for this. Node needs to be reparented. Is it this? Oh my God. They gave me the cruise ship emoji. What does this mean? I'd love for this to actually have some validity behind it. What? Oh wait, needs a parent to be reparented. Oh my God. I just misread the error message the whole time. Oh, that's bad. Okay, so then this is checking if this is null or not. Maybe I need to do this or null. Get parent st. Oh, I see. It's if it's a particular node. All right, well then I don't know how this is failing. So let's just put a breakpoint here. All right, well, at least I understand the error message now. This should get hit eventually. I'm pretty sure. We won't be able to see when it's going to happen because one of these is about to die. There's one in the front. No, it just died. Oh, there it goes. All right, so what is this set to? It's set to a node. So when they die, they don't... They don't get removed? I guess not. Yeah, I guess they don't. I'm so confused. Maybe it's because we're trying to reparent it to the exact same parent. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm doing that's wrong here. So battlers don't get parent equals battlers node. Oh no, I just typed the wrong stupid thing here. This was supposed to say battler. Oh, I'm just a dummy. Okay, well. Yeah, I generally agree with that. I think it's a good idea. Yeah, I do think so many problems can be solved with some communication. And I get that some communication takes time or maybe even some research. But if all it takes is like just have a conversation with a person, it's probably like the bare bones minimum you can do that'll help. All right, so this will hopefully revive itself. Perfect. Bingo. And I did not remember to look at whether that enraged the other ones. So let's look at this time. Yeah, so it says enrage on both of those. Now they should be doing more damage, but it's hard to tell because there's a paladin. Oh, you know what could happen? Technically, one Phoenix could keep getting enraged if it never dies. I don't think that's possible in the game. When's a deadline? There's no explicit deadline yet. I want to aim for Q1 of next year. So March sometime is what I'm targeting right now. So wait a second. Here's what we should probably do then. Okay, I have a better idea. We can keep track of how many times that this character has died. Why is this captured in the state? Oh yeah, this should be affected entity. And now that's no longer yellow. Shouldn't be yellow unless I wrote entity somewhere else. I did. Okay, so what we can do is we can track how many times they've died. Private int num deaths starts at 0. On death, we do ++. And then what we do is we give a power bonus times the number of deaths that we've had. So now if they die 10 times, they're going to become ultra powerful. So this exact same battle that we're doing here, cleric, paladin, rogue, mage. Okay, let's go get that. Cleric, paladin, rogue, mage. We will eventually die, guaranteed. So cleric, Paladin, Rogue, Mage. Okay, so at first they're going to do a little bit of damage. Oh, did I increase that? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah. So going to be a death here at some point. There it goes. Okay, so now doing a little bit more damage. And this is only for each death. So right now they're all at 1 death. So their power buff is not crazy. But now here's the second death. And now they're going to start doing a lot more damage. So they're doing 15. Now this one's going to die. It's going to make this one do like 17 or something. Yeah, so now it's doing, oh, it did 20. And now that one died. But anyway, this will just keep going on. And then eventually my healing won't keep up with it. Yeah, so the Paladin's dying now. They're taking 22 damage per time. I think this should probably ramp up a little bit faster. Yeah, it should probably ramp up faster. Yeah, so yeah, my characters are about to die. They're just taking too much damage now. But this battle will have taken forever. So I want to see what happens when my characters actually do die. It's almost done. Yep, Paladin's about to go kaput skis. And now the cleric is on their own. Maybe the Phoenixes should heal themselves? Yeah, it took 4 minutes. Is the aim just to see how long you last? In this battle, the aim is to kill all the Phoenixes within a certain amount of time from one another. So just having the rogue in the party is bad because the rogue always targets the thing with the lowest life. So if we do this party, we should just win the battle. And it won't take 4 minutes. Because these attack in such a way that they'll all probably die at the same time now. Although I'm not actually sure, and I guess there's no real way to recover from this if this does revive itself now. So now there's like a 4-second timer before that. Yeah, okay, so this is bad. Yeah, this is really bad. So now we're going to lose, I guess. Maybe I should extend the amount of time you have to kill them. Oh, no, there it goes. Okay, that took 2 minutes, though. It's not healthy. Yeah, I shouldn't do that. I recognize that it's potentially detrimental. And yet I do it anyway. Okay, so then 25% per life. Let's set it to 50%. And let's make it so the amount of time they have till they revive. By the way, hi, Assassin and Patrick. Let's set 1 more second until they revive. I do need to balance test this. And we haven't gotten to this yet. So at this point in the game, this is going to be boss number 4, I think. So we'll have Ogre, Dragon, Enchantress, Slime. No, it's the 5th boss. So this is the 5th boss, which probably means you have all of the adventurers. And it probably means they're level 10 or so. So I need to figure out what parties can beat this at level 10. What skills do you need? How hard, how many tries does it take? But we're not doing any of that yet. All we're trying to do is make sure that the battle is actually sensible at this point. And I think it is. The graphics look good. The revive thing is working. And that's it. That's pretty much the battle. And they're buffing each other. Yeah, so it enrages these. They do more damage, but if you kill them fast enough. I wonder if the Witch Doctor's just overpowered, though. Because I think if I wanted to build for being able to win this fight, I think what I would do is I'd actually put some skill points in. We'd get this. We'd get this. Yeah. And then I'd start this fight again. And now we'll have more zombies on the field. And the zombies always target the thing with the highest life, which helps equalize which Phoenix is going to die. And it also prevents us from taking practically any damage. Yeah, so now they're all dying pretty quickly. Nice. Yeah. All right, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. In fact, you know what? That's so convincing that I'm going to set this back to 4. Is there any system in the battle that makes it easier if you keep failing the check? You can forever be stuck with the wrong group makeup regardless of the level of adventures. You'll never... Wait, I'm not sure I fully understood this, but you're never like soft locked in this battle. You can always just go get money and get the remaining adventurers. But the answer to your first question, there is nothing that makes this easier if you keep failing. And that's kind of the point of bosses. Yeah, you can flee. If the battle weren't going to end, which now should be impossible because the phoenixes will eventually just overpower you. But if you were sort of soft lock, you just click the flee button here. But yeah, does anything make it easier if you're not able to kill these phoenixes within a certain amount of time of one another? No. And like I said, that's kind of the point of this. I'm thinking they respawn with less life. Yeah, we could do that. I do want to see how players tackle this, because what I don't want to have happen is you're having a ton of fun, and then you get to the 5th boss, it's this Phoenix thing, and you just struggle and then quit the game. That would be a shame. What will likely happen is people will struggle and then level up like too much, and then stomp the boss, and then move on, but now the game is too easy. I've seen this happen already in the game, even with just a dragon boss. People are like, oh, I should be level 4 on all my adventurers. And they take a little bit too much time. And the reason this is kind of a problem is because in this phase, players tend to be bored since they blame the game balance and not like their testing ability. Can the player focus target? No. This is like you need to bail out of the fight the moment one revives, which is pretty punishing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, if you went through the loop once already, then there's no reason to have it play out a second time. That's fair. Yeah, we could have them revive with not full health then. Maybe it should be 1F minus num deaths times 0.1. And we do math dot maximum of that and like 0.25. So they can't ever drop below 25% health when they revive. So now if I were to start this up and turn on invincibility. So how much did I subtract each time? 10%? 10% is not a lot. Yeah, maybe it should be 20%. But still, let's turn on invincibility and send the rogue into the battle with other DPS classes. I just want it to be fast. Sure. Okay. So what's going to happen is they'll target down one of these faster than the other ones. But then when it revives, it'll revive at only 90% life. Wait. How'd they win that? Is it because of this? They're not supposed to win. I think the rogues just, you know what, let's just quit this. Let's just give the rogue way more power. Yeah. Let's give them crit and that. There. Okay, so now they should definitely kill one of these way faster than the other one. Yeah, good. All right, so this dies. When it revives, we should see it missing a sliver of health. Yeah. And then when it dies again, it should be missing a larger sliver of health. So it should be maybe like there. Yep. And so on and so forth. They're also getting stronger, but I have invincibility turned on, so that obviously doesn't matter. Now it's at 70%. Now it should be at 60% the next time it dies. Although we're probably going to eventually win this. Yeah, now it's at 60%. Very interesting. Now it should be at 50%. I don't think we'll be able to touch the 25% bailout case because I think we're going to win before that. Yeah, now it's at 40. Yeah, and I won. Okay. Don't zombies always attack the highest health? Yes, they do. Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. I don't know if the 10% helps enough. Let's set it to 15%. We're not really trying to do balance now, but there. And I'll write down why this is the case. We revive them with less and less health. If we didn't do this, then you wouldn't really have a reason to continue the battle after the first cycle of deaths, since the fight wouldn't be getting easier at all. I'm really interested in seeing how people enjoy these boss battles. I think there's going to be some category of people who does not expect them to be difficult and is like, why is the game stopping me right now? Or maybe I need a power level or something. But there are going to be some people who do like experimenting and trying to figure this out. And what I'm a little bit worried about is that that category of people will not find the tools to do this as well as they might be able to. Because all you're going to have is a blurb somewhere like this. It's going to be more descriptive than this. So it's going to say something. Whoops. Oh my God. I cannot. Let's do that. Okay. So here it says the ogre dwells here. The ogre doesn't have any special abilities. They're just really strong. So for the phoenix, it's going to say something like the phoenix is, yeah, whatever, live here. They revive after like whatever it is, 5 seconds. And they empower their allies. And we could even put something like tip, kill them all within 5 seconds or something. I think that's obvious enough. But we could say something like tip, use the witch doctor to attack the highest or the strongest enemies or something like that. So this blurb is what unlocks your knowledge for this. You probably, for a lot of the bosses, could tell what their gimmick is just by watching them. But I don't think we'd expect you to do that. In fact, actually, would it be obvious for all of them? The ogre has no gimmick. The ogre also you can't lose because it's still the tutorial. The dragon has an AoE ability, and that's it. That's its gimmick. It just targets everything. And then after that, we start getting into slightly more difficult ones. The enchantress, I don't even remember what we did. It's got summons. It's got immunity to poison. Oh yeah. Okay, so the enchantress we probably need to say. The enchantress is like, doesn't take direct damage. Hurting its shadows hurt the enchantress. So that one's a little bit more complex. Then we have the slime, can only take 1 damage. Can't, and like always hits. And then we have whatever I'm coding here, the phoenixes, which is the revive mechanic plus empower plus, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess most of them would be obvious by just looking. So yeah, they can just hit the Steam discussions. Yeah, that's true too. And if they really get stuck, I don't think any of these bosses are going to be immune to you just getting to level 20 or something and just crushing them. The Yeti might be the exception to that, because the Yeti is supposed to insta-kill whatever it attacks. So after 4 hits, you lose. You're done. But I guess you'd still damage it fast enough if you got to level 20. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I think it'll be fun. You expand information after someone has lost a certain number of times. I can, but I'm worried that people won't see it. I think what would happen, we probably, and this is why we need to just play test this. Let's say someone loses like 10 times in a row. We could have logic to detect that and show a tip with the recommended strategy. Something like, try using the rogue with crit and the warrior with counterattack or something like that. But that's, I don't know how I felt about this. So yeah, I will continue to play test this and figure out what do people run into as an actual problem. But I think it's pretty natural to just try to get more power if you are struggling. All right, so we changed the phoenixes so they empower each other and they revive with less life. And we gave them an attack. And then the amount of attack they have should probably be like, 70-ish. I don't know. No, there are 3 of them. What am I talking about? 70 then. They should probably have like 40 attack. And then this fixed a bug. So this is like fix the Phoenix revive. Fix Phoenix revive ability. Or fix reviving in battle. I wasn't reparenting the node correctly. Yeah. All right, so there's just that change. Then this is make the phoenixes better. Flesh out phoenixes. Their revive ability now puts a, by the way, I'm going to give Codex a point for that. I definitely should. Oops, that's the wrong person. Let's subtract their point and give it to Codex. Oh, man. Interesting keyboard. What is it? It's a corn keyboard. Yeah, that's Athletics linked in there. And yeah, it's only got 36 keys, which is very bizarre for most people. Revivability now puts them at minus 15% life each time so that the battle gets easier as you do it. However, dying also empowers the other phoenixes based on how many deaths they've had. Yeah. So we're going to check that in. And we are looking pretty good. So Phoenix is done. Next up is the plant boss, plant yeti and snake. I don't think we're going to move on to these this stream. But the plant was just, this has thorns damage. I think somewhere we have a seed projectile. Am I mistaken about this? Attack graphics. What are these? I think it's just a seed. But I said graphics. Oh, there are two different ones. Oh, neat. Okay, so we have, I'll show these on screen. We have this and we have this. And in order to make this easier to see, I'll copy them into GIMP so that we can make them larger. And this. Okay, so first we have a seed projectile. This is just an animated seed, so each one of these is one frame. And then we have a vine attacking from below. And we could use both of these. I think we should use both of these. I think this is really cool. The rate went from 16 to -1. Yeah, I did not plan on that other graphic though. So thorns damage, meaning your own adventurers will basically die to their own attacks unless they have a lot of sustain. This fight is a tank check. And then what else should we do? Maybe, yeah, we should plan this a little bit. We have a seed graphic and a vine graphic. These should definitely be attacks. I'm just not sure how yet. You know what might be interesting is what if every time they got attacked, they shot a seed at that character? Although then I guess the rogue would make them shoot a ton of seeds. Maybe they shoot a vine every so often at the last character that attacked them. So the thing doing the fastest attacks is going to die. But that'll probably go after zombies or something. Can the plant wrap an ally? Yeah, we could do that. What would it do though? Make them stop attacking? This fight is going to be brutal. It's just going to be brutal. Hits the ally and that grows the vine that hits the character. Stop attacking, slow attacking. Yeah, I wonder if it even needs to do direct damage. Because, yeah, it could be that it shoots, or the vines are some kind of vines could be minus haste, minus power, minus even defense, maybe. Something like options. The seed could just be damage. Could also leech life. That'd be kind of interesting. It doesn't even need to leech a lot of life. Yeah, I like that idea. And then for vines, so I think this is pretty cool. Leech life from the target. And deal damage, of course. I mean, that's part of this. And then vines. I don't know if a debuff is even really needed for this fight. And I wonder, should it use multiple of them? What does the plant look like? Where'd the plant thing go? There it is. If it's a tank check, you don't want to stop or slow attacking though, right? Because a heal could go off, but not an attack, keeping you alive longer. Well, heals are kind of attacks in this game. Not all of them. And actually, I guess some of the characters are not even targetable. So the Spirit Caller has a healer as part of their package that can't be targeted. And I guess even your cleric could make it so they're not targeted. Maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe it does. Let me think about this. Yeah, so I'd want healing and tanking to come into account. So it shouldn't do a lot of damage. It should do a little bit of damage. A bit of damage. It's got to deal damage to you consistently enough. Yeah, the whole point of this is that you need to spend like a minute trying to kill it. Oh, no. It's dealing damage to you through thorns. I forgot about that. So yeah, I guess it doesn't need to do extra damage. All right, I'll do this, like, revisit this if we need another mechanic for this fight. It could just be that this does damage like a seed would. So it's just a different visualization. Could also weaken your characters. Yeah, I like that idea. I think that's what it should probably do. I think minus power is a good idea. Your main healers should be untargetable. It should work out okay. Guts that have vines either grab someone to stop attacks or spawn in front of a boss to eat attacks. That's anti-synergy with the Thorns mechanic. Yeah, the reason I like the minus power idea is because it plays in this whole, like, you need sustain for this fight. So not only are your attackers already taking damage when they attack, but now they'll do less damage, further providing importance to healers. Yeah. Is Thorns percent or a mirror? I'm not totally sure yet. Like, a lot of this, we're going to code the mechanics, and then when we get to the balance pass, if we decide that, like, 3 thorns damage per attack, if we decide that, like, oh, that's actually too much, or that's not enough, let's make it 5% of the attacker, or we can always change that later. And it should be pretty simple. But yeah, I just want to get the mechanics first and then do the balance pass later. So what is nice is that now we have 5 bosses coded, and we have 3 remaining. And we have the ideas for them all. So yeah, I think we're going to work on these tomorrow. Let me write in my journal. Why is that green? Oh, I already have the journal open? Yeah. Okay, so refactored ugly code in the ugly battle code so that I could finish the Phoenix work. We now have 5 bosses, 5/8 bosses done. Yeah. Yeah, it's feeling pretty good. So by the end of this, we're going to have a battle map that looks something like this, where we've added 2 new locations. So right now we have 8 locations, and we want there to be 10, and we want bosses to be reused. So for anyone who hasn't seen this change, this was from earlier in the week. Oh, this won't work. Hang on a second. All right, yeah. So for anyone who hasn't seen this change, earlier in the week, we made it so that you can, or maybe it was last week, I don't remember, made it so that you can reuse a location for a boss battle and a regular battle. So if I start a new game now, what used to happen is the forest was always a regular battle. So you'd fight here and you'd fight against bats. Oh, I forgot. I had this hard-coded the Phoenix fight for right now. Anyway, imagine those were bats instead. So this would have been the regular battle. And come on. And you could keep repeating it, and you keep fighting bats. And then when you moved on in the canyon, you'd fight the ogre and then never be able to fight in the canyon again. So it's just a boss location that you would then move on and go to the volcano. But now there's a boss here once, and you fight the boss, and it uses a little boss border here. And when you beat the boss, it shows you the banner, it unlocks some new buildings and stuff, and now you can fight in the canyon regularly. So I just threw a red bat in the canyon. But yeah, when you beat this, now you can move on to the volcano. And we can unlock this. And now we fight a regular battle here. There is no boss here. So it's just some volcano bats. You move on to the next location, so on and so forth. So yeah, we'll start throwing bosses in just regular locations. Makes the team weaker, and you want to kill them quickly to avoid dealing 0 damage and getting hit with thorns. Yeah, I don't know if the minus power is going to stack over the course of the fight. I actually hadn't thought of that. I guess if you have enough healing, you could stalemate against that boss. I need to think about that. Maybe the seeds do more damage based on how many debuffs you have. More damage based on how many debuffs you have. I mean, this would seem practically equivalent to just the seed does more damage every time it's used, which we could also do. We could just say like every single time it gets used, it goes up by 0.5 damage, so that after 100 uses, it's doing plus 50 per time. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Just hit a point in my game prototype that I found fun where I hoped I might. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah. Glad to hear it. Yeah, so what I was about to say after all that is we have 5 out of the 8 bosses done. I'm hoping that tomorrow, which is going to be a full stream day, I'm hoping we can do the remaining 3 bosses. That's the idea, at least. Then next week, we can start to work on the balance, the remaining locations for regular enemies. And then at some point after that is like the ending cutscene. Which, by the way, I had this written since the beginning of the game. I love the idea of the ending cutscene in this game. Where is it? Yeah. It's this. Oops. After beating the final boss, you get an antidote. An adventurer wanders into your town. They're slowly dying due to poison. You say, I've got just the thing. And you get them the antidote. They drink it. They don't seem at all surprised or grateful. Of course, there should be a shop that sells antidotes. The final scene is an extreme zoom in on your skeleton's face as it gets angry. That's it. That's a game. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, I really, really like the bosses, how they're shaping up. And it's kind of unfortunate that the demo just had 2 of them, and the ogre was in the tutorial, and the dragon just had like 1 little baby gimmick. So yeah, we got some bosses with actual mechanics in them now. So yeah, I'm excited about this. Okay, I am done blathering on. I'm going to do some off-stream work. I'll probably, if I do some refactoring or something, I'd probably tackle this, but I might just tackle localization stuff because I still need to get that working. And he doesn't even leave a tip. That's right. Oh, hey, Kit's on. I was just talking to Kit yesterday. Well, let's go raid Kit. Wait, is he... What am I watching right now? I have no idea what I'm watching. All right, let's go raid him. Thank you all for being here. I'll be back online tomorrow. There's going to be no afternoon stream today. As always, there's Discord and there is the Steam page. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Goodbye.